This is Daily Gains. Welcome back.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Dave. It's time to get it in. Let's get going. James 1:13. Let no one say when he is tempted, I am being tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, and he himself tempts no one.
You know, it's popular right now to push back on God's holiness, his justice, his position as rule giver, law giver, judge, and sort of throw down and say, hey, you know, who are you to be so judgy, God? And where I see that coming in here is that the reason that I find most people get there is because they see in their mind, this is how they put this thing together. God's all powerful. He can control all things. He puts hard things in front of us that do challenge us. That's cruel. And then on top of that, he dings us when we don't do exactly as he wants. Seems kind of, you know, worse than capricious. Seems pretty, the word I'm looking for, I can't think of right now. It's, it's vindictive at least, but it's sadistic. That's what it really is. I'm not going to tell you how to do this, but you know, you'll know when you get there. And if you don't, I'm going to buzz you with my zapper. But you know, that complaint didn't start with the Enlightenment 300-400 years ago. Clearly that complaint was known by James. It was known to be present at the time that James wrote this. And even before that, we can look back at the book of Job and see that Job understood this kind of complaint too. So did his companions. God's putting this test in front of you. You better get it right or he's going to come down and he's going to drop the hammer. And James is saying here, that's a false read here. That's a false read. That's not what God does, because that's totally out of step with his character. God himself can't be tempted. And he's not going to do it to you because it's out of character for who he is. And so for me, as I sit here and I'm tempted to say, God's being a jerk. This is a challenge to me. Because I'll be honest, I don't always feel as if this verse is true. But if I'm going to take God at his word, if I'm going to accept him for who he says he is, and not try to cram it into my little box of my understanding, this has to have weight for me.
I agree. I think the other side of the verse is God, as you're stating, my creator. Does he know what he's doing? And do I trust him? It's hard to understand how God allows for certain things to happen. And yet we know he does things well. We know that he is always trying to keep us close to him, us in that space of growing and bearing fruit, but also being grafted in, which requires us to be dependent. And I think that dependency is often what we struggle with when it comes to being tempted, because it doesn't feel fair that I should have to keep going back like I'm done with this, I'm matured, versus the reality of, no, you're supposed to stay grafted in. And I think if we forget that grafted in part, then this becomes something that can be a wedge for us against God. We can see him as one who is, yes, he's not tempting me, quotes, but he also didn't take it away, which is often the desire, and not recognizing that there is something of a maturing process to be met with and to go through in the trial. How you respond shows what you believe.
Yeah.
It shows who you trust. And so for me, again, this verse challenges me, am I really trusting God or am I trusting myself? Am I spiritualizing it or am I willing to say, I don't know, I don't understand, and I need to stay close to you and I'll wait for you and not try and pray it into my own box, as you stated, but really rest in him. And that's uncomfortable. And yet it's good for me. It requires me to act differently and to be honest about, things that might make me angry or might cause me to act in ways or encourage me to act in ways that are not proper, and take that before God to show that this is a will thing. This is me trying to control it again. I need to surrender that. I need to have accountability for that. I need to be forgiven and identify more with my Savior than the one who is tempting me. So yeah, let's get it done.
Let's get it done. We'll see you this afternoon.
Ba-da-da-da-da